Hey, welcome to this round of Snowmobiler Television. On today's show, it's a little less about snowmobiles and more about tires because we're here at Ice Driving Canada in Quebec to learn about winter tires and our tow vehicles. And maybe, just maybe, go for a lap in a different kind of snowmobile.
STV has been brought to you by Yamaha. Conquer snow with Yamaha. Ford F-Series, Canada's best-selling line of trucks for 52 years. Tough, smart, capable. Kimpex, fueled by fun.
If you're a snowmobiler, and you probably are because you're watching this show, then you know that trucks and trailers are a big part of the snowmobile experience, hauling our sleds to where we go ride. But you may also know that getting there can be a bit of a challenge.
If you're like us, bad weather doesn't mean you stay home. No way. You've got your destination booked, your buddies are on the way, and you've committed to your vacation. And bad weather on the roads is not going to get in your way. Plus, you have a 4x4 and big chunky tires that can get through anything, which helps for sure if you've got it. But even on light trucks like this, winter-rated tires can give you that extra bit of grip and safety on our Canadian wintry roads.
You have to get the proper tires for the conditions that you're driving on. Whether it's racing or driving, bringing the kids to school, you gotta have the right shoes on, the right tires on. So it's paramount, absolutely. As a driver, I mean, your stress level goes down if you have the proper shoes on. It's as simple as that. It's a peace of mind. It's a liberty to be ready if you have an emergency situation. So it's a no-brainer for me, really.
The basic purpose of all winter tires is to provide additional and increased vehicle stability, and the result is more safety for the drivers of those vehicles. Well, winter tires, you've got to understand everything about them is oriented towards generating winter grip in all the various types of winter conditions that we can encounter, whether it be deep snow, wet ice, slush, even dry roads. But primarily what we do is when we're designing winter tires and bringing them to the Canadian market is we're looking at two primary areas of the tire. We're looking at the tread compound and we're looking at the actual tread design. The tread compound is really key. What we require for successful winter tires regarding the compounding is a very supple, very soft compound, and that allows the tread area itself to be able to mold itself to the irregularities of the road. It doesn't stiffen up and it doesn't get hard and skid across the ice or snow that you encounter. So a soft, supple compound is really key. What Yokohama does in addition to that is we have some technology that actually absorbs a little bit of the water that the tire encounters when it's going through wet ice or a wet surface. We were able to wick away that level of moisture, a small level of moisture at almost the microscopic level that these tires can encounter. That allows the tire tread itself to get down through the water and right down to the surface of the road and generate grip, and that's the secret. You got to generate grip. The tires that go on light trucks, typically what they come from the factory would be an all-season tire. And all-season tires are generalist tires. They're successful when they're used in the three seasons, certainly spring, summer, and fall, and they have some amount of capability regarding winter weather driving, but they're certainly not winter tires as far as it goes regarding their snow capability in severe weather.
Ice Driving Canada boasts one of the longest ice tracks built on a lake in North America, and their experts offer to help us out in our comparison between winter tires and all-season tires on the Ford trucks. And trust me when I say, these guys know a thing or two about driving fast on slippery surfaces.
Ice driving is high-performance driving programs on a frozen lake located in Saint-Agathe-des-Monts in the Laurentians area. We've inspired ourselves from what we see in Scandinavia on big lakes, those long tracks. We have a road course that totals 3.2 kilometers. It's like a big road racing track on a frozen lake, and we have a bunch of skid pads and skid areas, so it's really rally on ice, really. It's really unique. I mean, you're always out of control, trying to regain control. You have to balance the car all the time, like we practice the Scandinavian flick. If you approach a slow turn, like a hairpin turn, you have to swing the car the other way around. So it's really always on the edge, always losing control, like on the edge of going off the track. So it's really on the limit all the time. If you're good on the ice, you'll be good on the rain and even be able to bring the car to its limit on a dry surface. People sometimes they take the cheap route and they don't have the proper tires, but it's so important.
The difference you're going to feel with the winter tires, you're going to feel much more security. First of all, accelerate more quickly. They'll be able to get away from a stop, but more importantly, they're going to be able to brake more confidently. It's one thing to have a 4x4 vehicle and you can get your 4x4 planted and take off from a standstill. It's another thing to get that thing stopped. And winter tires will give you the braking confidence that you require for safety. The other thing is lateral stability. All-season tires provide a decent level of lateral stability in winter weather, but not to the extent of a dedicated winter tire on a light truck. You're going to have good response, good turn-in, and you're going to have just much more confidence. And those things combined will make a much safer driving experience for you.
Yeah, when I'm out there driving the STI at full blast on the road course, I'm fully in control. I can bring the car very close to its limit at all times in each corner. I can do that for a 45-minute stints if I have the time and the desire to do so. But the threshold of the limit is very thin. You can trespass the limit very easily. It's very dangerous very quickly.
Coming up after the break, we're going to compare winter tires to all-season tires on a pair of brand new 2018 Ford F-150s here at Ice Driving Canada. For our comparison, we decided to do 3 basic tests: a drag race, just because drag races are fun, a braking test, and a slalom course to show the differences between winter-rated tires and no seasons, I mean all seasons.
The surface we're testing on is the main straight at IDC. Being a lake surface, it's solid ice and slippery. With this comparison, we had no way of accurately timing each stage, so it's more of a seat-of-the-pants and visual comparison of all-season and winter-rated tires. In addition, each truck would be run in 4x4 with traction control turned on. Visually, the black F-150 has got the all-season tires, while the blue truck has got the winter boots. The drag race was first up and is the only scenario where the two F-150s are pitted against each other in a heads-up first-to-the-finish race. Even though we knew the Yokohama Ice Guard tires had the advantage, it was still interesting to see the winter tires pull away from the all-seasons. And even though it doesn't look like it, both trucks are at wide open throttle with the traction control feeding in the power the whole way.
The drag race was a good showcase to show the traction that you had from a standing start. And it was clear to see that, with the 4-season, you were spinning wheels. Even with the traction control, it was just like crawling at turtle pace. So even in a drag race, it's going to predict the kind of performance you're going to have in the next braking zone. If you don't have good traction, you won't have good cornering, nor you won't have good stopping power.
Next is the braking comparison, and results are as expected.
Well, as you know, if you're approaching a stop sign, ice is forming in the braking zone because of the friction. So it's paramount that you need good braking power. So stop lights, stop signs, emergency braking maneuvers, it's very important to have that braking power and shortest braking distance rather, yeah. Yeah, we started to experiment at about 30, 35, 40 kilometers. And then we were surprised at the length of the braking distance. So and once again, proper winter tires, shorten those distances. So it's always a shocker to see the difference. Feeling the vehicle slide without being able to control it is not a fun feeling. You feel like you're a passenger. There's no grip. You're just sitting behind the wheel. There's nothing you could do. So imagine if you're gonna hit a vehicle, because you're gonna hit that vehicle because you have no control whatsoever. You have no braking power, you have no steering power, you just feel like a passenger. So it's not fun at all.
The last test was the slalom course, which incorporates an acceleration component, lateral G-forces while changing directions, and braking. Again, this test was a seat-of-the-pants comparo, but you can see even visually the black, all-season equipped Ford F-150 struggle as compared to the truck with the winter tires.
The slalom course was like a huge magnifier. It was really showcasing the big gap between the all-season and the winter tires. For example, with the all-season, when I was approaching the first slalom gate, small steering input, small slip angle, the back end was trying to come out, oversteer a bit, then the system, the anti-skid system would kick in with the front, and right away, even at low speed. Whereas with the winter tires on that truck, I could get quicker and be more in control, and the speed difference was huge. That slalom exercise was really a big window to see how those tires would behave, because it's the same thing if it's a long radius turn or tighter radius turn. As soon as you're putting load, you're going to see how those tires are going to behave. So as I was saying, is slightly oversteer as you start to turn in, then understeer, and the system will try to correct the maneuvers of the truck. So it was plain to see the difference once again. So it was a good exercise for that. So you can really translate that in any type of corners, any driving situation on the street.
At the end of the day, we also decided to attach the trailer to the blue F-150 with the Yokohama Ice Guard winter tires and rerun the braking test. The extra stopping distance even surprised the guys from Ice Driving Canada.
That braking test was an eye-opener for me. I don't have much experience driving with trailers, and it was a shocker. I mean, the traction, there was none, and it took me a long time to get going, and the braking was a long braking zone. I felt like a passenger without control for a long time. So be careful out there when you're pulling trailers, especially loaded trailer. Be careful. You need the right tires.
So there you have it. At 25 kilometers an hour, we've almost doubled our stopping distance with a truck with winter tires towing a trailer. Think about that next time you're traveling down the highway at 100K.
As snowmobilers hauling trailers in all kinds of conditions, we have to be on our game when towing our toys, and it's important to be prepared for when conditions turn nasty. I'm a believer in winter tires. A few years ago, I knew my mud terrain tires could get me through anything, but I was wrong. Making the decision to run winter tires on our cars as well as my pickup truck was one of the best driving habits I could have improved on, and I'm always surprised at how well they perform all winter long.
So what do you do when you have a brand new F-150, a fairly icy parking lot, and nobody around watching? You do donuts.
Coming up, the new Mountain Cat Alpha 1. More traction, more maneuverability, more weight savings, but it's missing one thing: a rail.
It was way back in 1966 when Arctic Cat introduced the industry's very first slide rail suspension. Now, the suspension found in that 1966 Panther looked a lot like the one in this Lynx here. Now, obviously, a lot has changed over the past 5 decades, but the basic design of 2 rails running parallel to each other on the outer bands of the track hasn't. Yeah, 2 rails here. Affirmative, got 2 here. That is, until now. This past January, Arctic Cat invited us to Island Park, Idaho, in their nondescript Western test facility for a first look and ride aboard the 2019 buggies. Now, what we found, or to be more accurate, what we didn't find, could very well change how rear suspensions are designed for years to come. Now, while there's plenty of new in the 2019 Arctic Cat lineup, it's what you'll find underneath the limited Mountain Cat Alpha 1 that will undoubtedly have you doing a double take. So just what were they thinking with the Alpha 1?
One was to reduce weight, increase maneuverability, and then also increase traction. So we reduced weight with the design and going to 1 rail. You know, it's a box section. We got rid of all the cross shafts, all the lightning holes, which allows it to stay clean and not carry any snow out in the field like we have here. And then allowing the track to move and flex gives you the maneuverability and then also adds traction.
Of course, looking different is one thing. Delivering improved performance is the goal. And based on a short burn with the Alpha One, Arctic Cat may have just scored one for the Thief River Falls home team. Boom.
The first thing to notice is the ease of rolling, the ease of putting it on edge, the ease of getting the vehicle set up for a side hill. There's not a lot of resistance to roll it up on edge. But the second thing to notice is when you're on the side or you're on edge and you're in those positions, that you have traction that you didn't have before. So instead of laying over and kind of going down in, you lay over and keep going.
And having the ability to keep going spells the difference between being the boondocking king of your group or spending the afternoon in a tree well. Now the new Alpha One looks trick, because it is. Thanks to engineering wizardry and unobtainium materials, the new track and beam combination is 11 pounds lighter than the previous design. That's significant. Like, wow, dude. Like, seriously, 11 pounds? That's a lot.
It's composed of multiple components. It's kind of been really optimized for weight, and then also the shape and the design for strength and for shedding snow. The main beam is extruded aluminum. There's a couple extrusions for mounting the wheels, mounting the rear arm, and then we've got a casting for the bottom out support to allow full travel. And then the front casting is magnesium that mounts multiple components, serves multiple functions, and all the pieces are bonded together with epoxy.
Now, our time aboard the Alpha One thus far has been very limited, but we can say with certainty already that the new design is much easier to ride and delivers improved performance for riders of all abilities, even old guys like me.
It allows increased maneuverability with that increase in traction. You get stuck less. It's easier to get around. It's easier to do the more technical maneuvers that you need when you're out in the trees or you're on hills and you need to side hill, you need to get the vehicle on edge. It makes all that easier. Combined with that, it doesn't carry the snow. It has more traction. You don't get stuck as easy. You get around a lot better.
The Mountain Cat Alpha One is available during spring order only in 154 and 165 inch track lengths. Now there's plenty of newness to go around from all the manufacturers, but the Alpha One is not only the coolest, but we think the most significant. I mean, it's a pretty big deal. It's got one rail. It's just like down the middle, like just one. Come on, come on! Twist it like you got something. Oh, push of a button. You know, the convenience is everywhere in our daily lives, from our homes to our vehicles to our phones, and now even our snowmobiles. For 2019, Arctic Cat has teamed up with Fox Shocks and taken their already popular QS3 and made it even better. How'd they do that?
The IAX suspension takes this shock here, and the rear arm shock back here, and the other front shock up here, and brings them together all to this button right here.
With a simple push of the button, the IAX system allows you to change the ride characteristics of the front suspension shocks and the rear arm shock simultaneously and almost instantly. Just how fast, Brian?
The system reacts in 0.2 seconds from full soft to full firm, so very fast. You can see a bump, you can react with your thumb, and it's already made the adjustment to the shock. I like it on soft or medium for that groomed trail. It lets the front end kind of set in, bites into the corner good. 3 is just a little bit too rigid up front for that. So I would recommend starting on 1 and 2 if you're running nice groomed trails. When you get into that trail chop stutter bumps, depending on the depth of the bump, you know, they vary from 6 inches to 2 feet. You'll like the soft or medium there as well. The firm setting's really for the guy that maybe is more aggressive, sees that off section, you know, there's some power lines out here that get moguled out and you like to get over and jump on them, or back home or running ditches up at Thief River, jumping road crossings. That's where the 3 comes in handy, so.
That's great. Just what does the I in IAX stand for, Brian?
It can stand for numerous things. It can stand for instant, like we just talked about. It only takes 0.2 seconds. Interactive, that's where you're riding down the trail making those changes depending on the terrain. And intelligent, this is tied into the reverse system. So When you put it in reverse, it kind of locks out the rear shock, softens up the skis, so it keeps the rear of the sled up a little bit higher in a stroke so the snow flap doesn't grab a hold of the track. So little features like that that just make this whole package that much better.
The IAC technology will be available on several limited package models for 2019 in a host of engine choices.
Whether it's the 8000 package, 7, 6, or 9, this just takes it to a whole nother level.
Now with Alpha 1 and IAC, Arctic Cat's serving up some pretty tasty tech for 2019, but if you were paying close attention, there's one more new tidbit that will have you feeling pretty good about Arctic Cat next year. For 2019, nearly all Arctic Cat models will feature a redesigned handlebar control package and Hayes Stealth Master Cylinder brake. The slimline controls serve up improved fit and finish, better touch points and actuation, and are backlit, making them easier to see at night. And the Hayes Stealth brake serves up improved lever ergos and a shorter throw. Well, there you have it. Arctic Cat 2019. Sexy new controls, smarter shocks, and a new single beam skid that could represent a harbinger of future rear suspension design. I'm gonna order me a pizza, I think.
STV will be right back after the break, and then we're gonna send it. Hi, I'm Larry Tyser. Welcome to another installment of Lawn Ornaments, where viewers submit their finds of snowmobiles left behind. Let's take another look at today's winner. This one's sent in by a Matt Kaufman. This guy must be stuck in the 80s. Looking at that truck, got his Craftsman lawnmower. Do you even make those anymore? I don't know. Got a couple sleds there torn apart. He must have a gem in that shed there, using all the parts to make one good one. Well, that's all we got from the Kaufman. I'm gonna send you this t-shirt. Keep on sending it.
Hey, thanks for hanging with us this week on Snowmobiler Television. Until next week, I hope you stay safe on your rides and on the road.
That was a good one.
Ah. My cake up.
I had to